Rocket Fire's coming to a Kickstarter near you, and it feels a little bit like Machikoro, a little bit like Splendor, and a little bit like Catan. But does it feel a little bit good? Let's talk about it.
What does that even mean, Bowers Games?
Ahoy there, YouTube! We're back again for another Thoughts from the Corner. I'm here with my good friend Adam. And we're talking about Rocket Fire. This is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 plus. It's coming to a Kickstarter near you very, very soon. Or it might already be on Kickstarter because that's how time works. And in Rocket Fire, this is a really simple gateway-style game where everyone is going to get one of these little boards right here. And the goal of the game is to get 6 rockets up into here. If you do that, you're going to trigger the end of the game, and most of the time you're probably going to win the game. How you get those rockets up there boils down to the 3 types of cards in the game. First, you got these cards right here. These are called resource cards. It's really quite simple. If anyone on their turn, because on your turn, first thing you're going to do is roll 2 dice, then announce the number that comes out, a la Machikoro a little bit. Everyone who has that number is going to then do whatever it is. So for these particular cards, if someone rolled a 3, a 5, or an 8, including myself, I would get 2 red chips and a green chip, and then this would go away pretty much forever. But then I would have those chips, and those chips I'm then going to turn around and use to spend on these cards right here, which will have this big plus some number here. These cards, the cost is on the bottom, so this cost would cost me 4 of my blue chips, but then I get to put it into one of my 4 reserve areas down here. And this is a finite amount. You can only have 4 cards down here, period, and you do have to share space with both the resource cards and the fuel cards down here. But if someone were to happen to roll 11, I get a plus 11 fuel cells, which are these little silver doodads right here. And for every 7 fuel cells, you get a rocket ship, which brings us back to how you win the game, is by getting 6 of these rocket ships up here. Last type of cards you're going to get in the game, remind me a little bit of Catan, are these cards right here. There's a variety of special power-up cards that will make it so that you can manipulate your dice rolls, so you can make people discard cards, so you can make people discard certain colors of chips. There's, I think, like 7, 8, 9 special power-up cards in there. And on your turn, you're only going to take 1 action. You roll the dice. Everybody does the thing with the dice. So if it was a 3, anybody who had a 3 would trigger that. And then you take 1 action to either get one of these 2 types of cards or to purchase up some power cards. And then you can spend power cards whenever you want. That's not an action. And that's the gist of the game. There's also a how to play video up in the upper right-hand corner if you want to see that. But first impressions on Rocket Fire. What did you think about it?
I thoroughly enjoyed this. I really liked that the cards were a one-time use. You're not kind of stuck with a card and somebody doesn't have like, oh, that's an amazing card. It's like, oh, after one shot, it's gone. And I really enjoyed that. The turns ended up being really quick.
Snappy.
Really quick. Yeah, there was a variety of different cards, but, all the iconography made sense. Everything seemed to flow really well. It's a great game.
Yeah. I was very pleasantly surprised with this, and I read the rules, and I was like, this sounds a little bit like this, a little bit like this, a little bit like this, and it just works all so well together. I think if you're in the market for a gateway game, this is one you might want to potentially consider. It's easy to learn, it's easy to teach. Component-wise, I think they're keeping the poker chips, which are obviously nice. They give me the Splendor vibes, and they're nice to use. Nitpick-wise, obviously, and it's hard to nitpick a game when you have a pre-production copy of it. I feel like the back of the rule booklet is completely wasted with just a description of the designer of the game. Instead, there should be, honestly, I think they should have
all the special cards.
All the special cards, maybe like a list of what you do on your turn. Like, here's the 3 actions, some situational rules. But it's just going into it knowing it's a gateway game. What you mentioned, I love how quick the turns are because you roll the dice. Do you trigger? If not, you take your 1 action, which might just be, take this 1 card, put it here, replenish the board, pass the dice, you move on. You're going to be in and out of this game probably less than 45 minutes at the most, honestly, probably around a 30-minute game. And I don't see this being anyone's favorite game that they're going to fall in love with forever. But, I mean, I think it's a very good to great game for most people.
I don't know, it's got a lot of the great, what am I trying to say? Not components. Devices. What do you call it?
I don't know.
Structures. Words.
Components? No.
It's got
mechanisms.
Mechanisms. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, it's got all the great mechanisms.
It's got good bones.
Games. Yeah. I mean, the dice rolling is always fun. Collect your goods. Yeah.
But here's the question.
It's got
I have a question for you
Sure.
that most people wouldn't ask on a Kickstarter video, but I'm going to do it. Would you rather play this or would you rather play Machikoro?
Oh, I'd play this. Yeah.
Really?
I am not a huge fan of Machikoro.
See, I like Machikoro. I'd rather play that. And then the other game, Splendor. Would you rather play this or would you rather play Splendor? I'd rather play Splendor. 2 for 2 on that.
Because this is newer and I have not played it a whole lot, I would play this.
And then I wouldn't compare Catan.
I can't say for the long period that it would be that way. I would have to play this more. But, yeah, right now I would play this first.
And then I think comparing it to Catan's not fair, because honestly it's just the power-up cards that feel Catan-ish on this.
Roll and collect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that too. I didn't even think of that. But there you go. I mean, it's Rocket Fire. So, on the pros, easy to learn, easy to teach. Let's think of some cons. I want to be a little critical here. It's a pre-production copy, so I can't really ding it for anything that. Hopefully they spruce up the graphic design. I think they mentioned they were going to do that. The back of the cards are a little bit confusing, but I'm sure they'll fix that because once again, it's a pre-production copy.
Sure.
I mean, it's this very inoffensive game. I mean, I don't feel like anyone's going to play this and be like, I fucking hated that game. It sucked. You could mitigate your dice rolls a little bit. I like the power-up cards. I thought there was an interesting variety of the power-up cards.
I don't know. Maybe some design of the cards that you collect on might be a little more different than the
on the front
cards. Yeah, but I mean, I never had any problem knowing which card was which.
Yeah, I mean, you see the big blue +10. It's pretty obvious. So here's the question I always like to ask in this video: if I was going to hand you this game, would it go into your collection?
Absolutely.
I agree as well, partially, and I should probably mention this. I played it with my 10-year-old son. He enjoyed it an awful lot. He's excited to play it again. That's important. Duh. Mention that, reviewer guy. But yeah, it went over well on game night. We played it with another person. They enjoyed it as well. And I think if you're in the market for a gateway-style game, this is definitely one you might want to consider. That is Rocket Fire. If it looks like it might be a cup of tea, be sure to check out that Kickstarter link down below. Also, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below, as I'm trying to reach 17,000 subscribers in 2023 to make it my biggest year ever. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube. This video is brought to you by all of my amazing Patreon supporters, and I would love it if you would join their ranks and have your name immortalized in the end of many of my videos for the end of time. But consider for only $1 a month, and as always, thanks for stopping by.